And you are live.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Laws of Success in 16 Lessons by the great Napoleon Hill. My name is Hugo de la Torre, and I'm calling here from sunny South Florida. Welcome to the call. Our goal here at the Masterminding call, or the Laws of Success in 16 Lessons, is to empower each other by becoming better communicators at first. One of the greatest fears is the one of public speaking. And so what if you can have a place where you can come and share your thoughts and ideas without worrying about what they may say? So this is an open call. We're live on Facebook. I don't get to see your comments, so don't mind if I ramble on, but I will stop here and there to answer your questions. My name is Hugo de la Torre. Would you like to introduce yourself before we get rock and rolling?
Yep, my name is André Guérin. I'm calling from La Chute, Quebec. I'm very glad to be there tonight.
Thank you, Ross, man.
Anthony from Lansing, Michigan. Glad to be here as well.
Thank you for being here. So this week was all about the Mastermind Alliance, and the Mastermind principle. We're just getting started here with the Laws of Success. So our goal is that you join us for the next 3 months as we go through the Laws of Success. And we did it on Tuesdays, we did it on Thursdays. Now we're coming here on Sunday to recap as to what this chapter does for us. Usually we like to do it a little different on Sunday, where everybody can come and just share how each particular chapter did in your life week by week. We put the phone number out there live through Zoom, so everybody's welcome to come to this call. So let us enjoy the next 45 minutes of our time. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right. Any ideas, any thoughts before we get started?
Well, if we got some mother on the line, happy Mother's Day.
Amen. Yep. In the Mastermind principle, it talks about that. Thank you for saying that, Andre. Good starting point. That there should be basically 3 Mastermind alliances. There should be more than 3, but 3 basic Mastermind alliances. The first one is between you and your Creator, what you believe to be truth. And the second one is between your significant other. So yes, to all the mothers out there, they're fantastic, because there's a saying that behind every great man, there's a lady there that you don't hear of. It's in the background, and it constitutes the success of that great person. So thank you for bringing that up. And the third one is a group of people like we're doing here tonight. Get out there together with like-minded people that have the same passion that you have. So thank you for coming here to the Laws of Success, so that we may get enlightened on the subject. Any other thoughts?
Everything is all right.
Well, through the week we started at that starting point. This week we talk about molecules, atoms, and electrons, and how they all come together. That's what makes the substance of the universe. I just want to recap as to what the Mastermind principle is all about, because it's good to understand that at the beginning, the same thing that we're made of is the same thing as the table is made out of, and as the particles of every part of the universe. And what happens is like the stuff thinks, and any thought that you can impress on it becomes. So far, so good. And then we talked about that there's a vibrating fluid of matter, that in every part of matter there's an invisible fluid there. And the fluid, it goes at a fast rate of speed. And what happens, that's what creates energy. And then we talk about the air and the ether of the universe, and the vast space between the moons and all the planets. And what happens is that over there, there's a mental library, a place where you can get all the information you need. But if you talk about the air and the ether, and that there is vibration of Saturn there, we can go back to Alexander Graham Bell, and that he proved that statement when he sent a sound information throughout the sound wave. come to realize that we are all, every mind is both a broadcasting and receiving station of vibrational thought. So every thought that you're sending out there goes out there to the ether, and it just stays there until somebody else that has the same thought reaches out. So you can see how we are all connected in one form or another. And then we talked about the mastermind. You know, when two or more people come together and they work in perfect harmony, that's where the so-called miracles happen. Because what happens is that there's a chemistry of the mind. And the goal is to bleed a couple of minds together for the benefit of the whole group. And so yes, that's what we're about, the mastermind principle. So it's a good starting point for us to ascertain as to what constitutes power, and we have to know where we're coming from, so we know where we're at, and then we can start from there before we go into any other principles. And then it talks about that yes, that there is a mind chemistry and economic power when you beat the minds of others. That's what the great Ford and Edison and Burroughs did. They were all successful, but when they got together and they created power unseen before, and that happens over and over and over and over. Every time two or more people come together and they work in perfect harmony. Because at the end of the day, there's two forms of knowledge. One is those things that come through hunches, and the other stuff is organized knowledge, something that you can get together as a group of people. And to try to go it alone, it makes it harder than to try to get together with a group of people that have the same passion. So far, so good?
Far so good.
See, there's a psychology behind these calls like this, where we come and share our thoughts with other people, because it's like a revival meeting. It's the same thing that happens in the churches. Our goal here is that we come to have an understanding in human relationship, and to have harmonious relationship with everybody that we meet. Then he talks about the meaning of education. You know, education is never ending, never ending. The word educo comes from to bring from within. So the goal would be to go through these 16 lessons and get educated on it. But education, again, is to test the theory, to put it to practice, so that you can go back and say the result. For every action, there's a result. For every cause, there's a... So we're trying to find the cause of how people become wealthy. So far, so good?
Very good.
All right. And then, you know, the question arises as to who can profit by it. Anybody can profit by it. That's what we like to have this mastermind group thing, because no matter what business you're in, if you can find a group of people that have the same passion with you, that can mastermind, that can keep you accountable, like a buddy system, it's always on your face, say, hey, you talk a lot of stuff, but are you doing the things that you need to do? So anybody, no matter what kind of business that you're in, this is a good thing. 907. You share a thought.
Yeah, thank you, Hugo. You're very good. Yeah, the Mastermind Alliance is based on trust and honesty between 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the common goal. It's maybe for helping each other grow a business, helping giving tip to raising the kid and the family. You know, many subject is on the Mastermind. It's possible to share a way to see it. You don't see it. You know, that's the power of the Mastermind. Be interconnect in the heater, and have good talk between each other to succeed in life. In your life, it's very good. So thank you, Hugo.
Appreciate it.
Somebody is
Appreciate
drilling.
it. drilling.
Well,
You
I
hear
was
something behind on the grandma on the background?
it's okay now.
All right. So just a little summary of the introduction of this chapter on the mastermind. So again, we go back to understanding what the earth is made out of and what we are made out of, and that we, as being part of nature, being part of the same substance of the same universe, that we can get in touch with that substance, whatever you believe to be truth, whatever your God may be, your creator, you can go out there and reach those sources outside of ourself, or outside of our what we see, the six senses, and that we can get the answers necessary. Oh my God, forgive me. So, having said all this, let us go through the 16 points that we're going to talk for the next 3 months. The first one is having a definite of purpose. And the idea would be that here at the beginning of the course, as you listen to these 16 points, that there'll be one that is going to catch your attention right away. And that would be the one that you should analyze very carefully, because that could be the stepping stone to your success. So as I go along these 16 principles, see the one that piques your interest the most. The first one is definite of purpose. Because see, and the second one is self-confidence. I'm just going to go through that, and then maybe we can go through them one more time. The habit of savings. Do you have initiative and leadership in your life? Imagination. Are you using your imagination? How's your enthusiasm? How's your self-control? Are you doing the habit of doing more than pay for? How's that pleasing personality of yours? Accurate thinking. Are you thinking accurate, based on fact, not just hearsay? Concentration. Cooperation. Are you getting the cooperation of other people? Are you profiting by your failures? Tolerance. And last but not least is practicing the golden rule. Would you like to share a thought about any one of those, something that piqued your interest?
It's okay for me.
So think as these 10 people behind you, or as these 16 soldiers behind you, and each individual are your army. And the goal would be to get into each particular principle. So when you need the aid of any one of them, they're right behind you to come to help. Fair enough.
Fair
You know,
enough.
and then at the end of the chapter, it touches on the 6 basic fears. And come to find out that every person on this earth comes with these 6 basic fears implanted through us, through 2 things. Either it's heredity, the things that came from our parents, and from the things that become from way back, or social heredity, the things that we pick up from our school, from our education, from our whatever our religious belief may be. And at one time or another, and it's amazing, it's right here at the beginning, that you got to get rid of those fears. If you are to attain success, you got to get rid of these fears. But it's good to analyze these fears, because then we can see where they come from. 9:13. Like to share a thought?
Oh, I'm okay. You go.
It's all right. It's all good. It's like there's so many. All right. So understanding that these fears come either from your upbringing, your parents, the same thing that makes the color of your eyes, the color of your skin, who you are, and those things come from generation to generation, And one may say that those things are hard to get away from. But even those ideas that were implanted through your grandparents, your parents, those things can be changed. At one time or another, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and says, do I take those statements to be truth? Or what is that? You know, to thyself be true. You have to look at yourself in the mirror one time or another and be in control of yourself before you are to attain any success. And the other things is the thing we learn from our upbringing, you know, from the things that our teachers taught us, or from something that someone has said to us when we were young. And that can put a profound influence on your mind, and either for good or ill. It either makes you a winner or stops you on your track. So the purpose of understanding these things is that we throw away this deadly enemy, because every human mind has been at one point or another, those fears come to pass. So the idea is to get a grip on our heredity, get a physical or what our parents taught us, so we get rid of all this superstitious stuff. And we're going to find out that yes, these 6 basic fears, they have been part of nature since the beginning of life. If you analyze anything, when we were in animal, you know, we were first in the ocean, and they prey upon each other. And then when they started walking, the animals preyed upon each other. Even the plants, everything preyed upon each other. And then us human people came, and then you know, we were in the caves, and then we fear each other. You know, and then it was about taking somebody else's thing or taking somebody else's wife. And before you know it, we come to this time of age when we don't really eat each other physically, but we eat each other financially. So those that have, no, let us not even go there. But then we start fearing those things. So far, so good.
Very good.
Looks like we got Steve on the line.
Hey, Steve, how are you, brother? Sorry, I can't. Oh, you want to say something? He's on Zoom. Again, this call is open at any time.
Sorry.
Please.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sorry. I just want to say thank you guys for having me on. I just got on. So
Very cool.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Let us set aside for a minute all those opinions that we have formed by what our parents taught us, or what we may know to be truth. At least for a moment. Can we do that for the next half hour or so?
Yeah. Social heredity, my friend. And heredity
Tell me a
is
little
very
bit
tough.
about that.
Well, social heredity and
Check out your tongue. You thinking about your upbringing? All the superstitious stuff that was implanted in your mind? Andre, you there?
yeah, we're gonna talk about it a little bit if you want.
Please do so.
Okay. Social heredity is tougher than a family heredity, but it's the same thing many times. It's the same part. You know, if you raise, depending which religion you are in, you have to fill up what the what the teacher gave you, and what the priest gave you, and what your father gave you, and your mother. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. But especially in the social heredity, you have to do what other people do around you, and you catch that very young because you want to be like everybody. And when you are like everybody, well, you're not you. They don't teach you to arrive to know who you are very young. You know your talent, this and that. So depending which generation you are, personally, I have to make a lot of work to understand who I am and what I am good, and then what I'm not good and I need help. You know, so that I love the law of success, and I like a lot this mastermind because with the law of success, it's possible to correct some defect I got and learn something I don't got. And that's very important to me to get people who are better than me in many things to achieve my goal. So thank you very much.
Very cool. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Anybody else? Um, Thank you, Andre. Thank you. And the first thought that came back to me was that you have to get this thing implemented in your mind. That there's one original substance out of from which all things proceed. And that stuff is the same material, all the elements are about one substance. And what happens is that stuff thinks. And every thought we implant on the substance produces the thing that is imaged by our thoughts. And you have to come to understand that, because that's the beginning point. And then that's just something that is very powerful. But once you understand that we're part of the same thing that the whole earth and the whole universe is made out of, and that we can reach out there to the ether of the universe, and from there get in touch to whatever you believe to be true, and you can get the answers right away. The question becomes as to, implanting these thoughts to your conscious mind so that it opens a door to your subconscious mind. And once this thing, what we're talking about here, it's implanted in your subconscious mind, you begin to act in ways that you can't even comprehend. And that's the beginning point. That's where there has to be a desire there. That's why we talk about a chief aim. That's why it's so important to relate to your chief aim, and then you don't waste time on useless thoughts. That everything is related to what do you want from life? I mean, what is the purpose? Why are you here? And thank you for talking about, how those thoughts are implanted in our mind. Let's say that they either come through upbringing, through heredity, through our parents and their beliefs, and yes, what we have come to learn through our upbringing. And most of them, by the time you're 13, they're so implanted in your conscious mind that most people spend the rest of their life never for once in their life saying, hold on a second, this is what I believe to be true. As long as you have a close relation with your creator, and you're not doing no harm to none, why should you have any fears or superstitions about things that are not truth? So far, so good.
Very good indeed.
So let us look at those 6 basic fears. It requires courage to tell the truth about the history of the enemy of poverty. And it's still great courage to hear the truth about it. See, the fear of poverty, it did come from people preying upon each other. Back then, it wasn't economically. Back then was just by instinct, because you had to get the food. So by instinct, you preyed upon each other. You can't come touch me, or don't touch my thing, because otherwise I'm out to get you. And then when we began to have the power to think, that's a great power, thought. And then we began to prey upon each other financially. And so great is this thing that's why we have so many laws, because what the laws are made for or so the weak are not preyed upon the rich, the ones that have the power. So the can you see why we fear poverty? I mean, a lot of times, you know, when we're young, we always saying we don't have enough, we don't have money for this. This is not enough. There was always lack, not understanding that if you walk outside your door and you see the grass grows and everything just grows for good or bad. Uh, so the fear of poverty. Moment of silence so that ponders in there. Get rid of that fear. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. You know, a lot of times Sunday is supposed to be also where we come in here and we test and we say, we're honest enough to say, it hurt me. You know, that the fear of poverty is related to the habit of savings. You'd be surprised that you don't save money because of the fear of poverty. Can you believe that? We don't save money because we fear that tomorrow we ain't going to have something. And then we start spending more than we make, not understanding that it's not in the amount of money that you save, but it's in the habit of savings. That when opportunity presents itself, you can at least have something. Otherwise, opportunity passes left and right. The fear of poverty. I don't know how they put it here in different forms, but I like to say that right at the age of 13 or after that, we fear criticism. Um, Criticism. Any thought on that subject, Andre?
Well, if you're afraid to be criticism, you don't try nothing in life. You just do what they ask, and when people control your mind and control your habit of doing something, they got the power to tell you you're not good. You know, you're never
Hmm.
enough good. So you have to take self-confidence on you and don't be fear of that criticism. If you fail, you fail. That's it. That's all. And you have to do something. You do it because learning by failure is the best thing in life. And if you don't try, well, I don't know why you was born, but if you don't fail, you don't try. So you know, fail until you got success.
Anthony, the criticism. What do you say? The fear of criticism. Uh,
Yeah, I think that the fear of criticism is probably the one that affects people the most. You know, the fear of poverty. That's a general one. That's a big one. You know, the fear of old age, ill health, loss of love, fear of death, those kinds of things. But the fear of criticism, that is based on how people perceive you. So it's a direct reflection of people viewing you. And it is hard to get the honest criticism sometimes. And sometimes we really need it. And I think that's one of the biggest things about joining a mastermind is getting past that fear of criticism and being able to both constructively help others in the mastermind, but understand that you also have to be told the harsh realities at times as well. So that's my thoughts with that. It's one that we all face, and we have to constantly just feel the fear and go forward anyway.
Very cool. Very cool. 9:29. Yes, and then first we at one point or another we fear the pinch of poverty, and then these criticisms come into place because we have to have the nicest clothes, we have to wear the nicest clothes, so we got to keep up with the Joneses. And before you know it, yes, of what they may say. One of the greatest fears is public speak, to get in front of a crowd. And if you're going to be successful, you got to be able to speak in front of a crowd. Otherwise, how are you going to have a group behind you that are willing to listen to you? And then after that, we come to the fear of losing someone you love. You know, you think your grandparents are getting closer to the age of dying, and it also fills the asylums where people are so jealous of your significant other that someone's going to come and take away what's yours. That's filling out the divorce courses. Also through the thing is handed down through social heredity because of it's just that you feel like if your parents will pass away or your significant other will pass away, your life will be over, and that's one place that we all are going to go. The fear of losing someone you love, that can stop you on your tracks. One time or another, you have to. I don't want to say be by yourself, but you have to be happy with being with yourself, at least for a time being. And this thing about love, it's not in the stuff of giving that you will receive. So no matter who you have loved, it was in the love is that you gave love, and love will come back again. So never fear losing someone that you love. That's related also to as you're getting old, because then we fear that we're going to the fear of old age. And this fear of old age goes out of many causes, and one piggyback off each other. First, you fear that when you get older, you're going to be in poverty, right? Second, this is worse than the first one, is the fact that these thoughts have been implanted in your subconscious mind that as soon as you pass this beautiful place, you're going to go to another place where there may be wind and fire and all kinds of superstitious stuff that we don't know where the hell we came from, and we sure as hell we don't know where we're going. We should be contemplating our thoughts of living today in a righteous way. So if we are to go to another place, heck, at least over there will be a place where there will be just souls. No blacks, no Jews, no white, no yellow, no nothing like that. Just all us brothers. And then you don't have to fear about going to another place, or I should say, growing old. Growing old should be a place of wisdom, a place where you can beautifully, how can I say, take the time to enjoy what your life has been about, instead of fearing this horrible thing as to what's coming after this. There's this thing about ill health. Just like if you want to be rich, you have to be rich conscious. You have to be successful conscious. If you have achieved fame in life, if you know what you want from life, you are a success. Don't anybody else tell you differently. Because there's too many people, 98% of the population do not have a name. They just wake up every day, let me go to work, let me do my hours, let me come home, and today's Sunday, and next week will come again, and another week will come, and another week will come. But share a thought. They seem to ramble on and ramble on. 9:33.
Well. The fear of poverty is like being born with you don't got two legs. The fear of poverty make you weak, afraid of life, and you cannot manage your life because each time you do something, you're afraid to get poorer. You don't take chance to invest. You don't interest yourself in the money making. And it's very important to pass that fear and and make to know how to make money. You know, if you go work in the shop each day, you have to put 10% of your pay. You have to pay yourself first. It's very important to do that. That's what I learned very young, and I'm very glad today because I think I am the older one in that couple, and I'm not afraid to getting old without money. I'm not a millionaire, but I got money somewhere, you know, and that's good. That's good for the thinking. It's possible to take some chance to do something correctly and manage my time to do it, and come in this mastermind to learn a better way to achieve what I start. Because the fear of poverty, I see many people get cheap with their self, cheap in their minding, and cheap with their money. They never got money because they are big spender. They spend too fast and they don't think for the long term, you know. If you spend for a project you got, if you make bankruptcy, you're gonna learn something. That's for sure. You're gonna learn to manage your budget in a better way. But you don't got the fear of poverty. You know, it's possible to be redone because you're not afraid. You just learn something. That's an experience in life. It's a bad experience, but it's an experience, and you learn by taking chance and risk and that kind of stuff. But if you complain, you lose your money. Well, you're a poor man. You know, if you ain't got what it take, it's very tough. It's very tough to succeed. So you have to, you know, the fear of poverty put a cloud in your mind. That's what I understand long time ago. Put the cloud out. Put it out. Put it out and make a plan. Have a chief aim. So thank you, Hugo.
Hey, is that you right there? Is that?
Sorry,
I love it. I love it. Tell me to say hello. See what
so
she
we got a
has to say
young
about
mastermind too here.
Yeah.
it. That's great.
So what I want to say is this is actually a really amazing platform in which we can all come together, and I really appreciate you guys doing what you guys are doing. I think as far as the
To the one Wix.
I think as far as the whole fear of poverty thing, I've for once I was learning all my life I was learning to spend what I have and then invest the rest, and now I'm trying to learn how to invest what I have and then spend the rest. You know, so I think that's a big thing, and it takes about 21 days to create a habit. So if we start now and do plant the seed today, in 21 days we'll create a habit which could be beneficial or detrimental to us. So I appreciate you guys.
Very cool. That's the power of the mastermind. Thank you for sharing those thoughts, bro. So just real quick so we can recap. And I don't know how to put it first. Let's just say that the fear of criticism comes at the head of the list because, you know, when you're 13, 14, you start fearing something. And then as you hit 21, you say, God, I got to make my own way. So poverty, I can't, my parents are no longer going to take care of me. Now I got to go on my own. And then this thing about ill health. A lot of people fear ill health. And before you know it, you're growing old with ills, no money, and it becomes a roller coaster of man, now I'm going to lose someone that I love. And before you know it, you're getting into the age where you should be enjoying the most. And here comes this fear of death. The fact of like, where do I come from? Where am I going? And every one of us, it has in the back of our mind that eternal question: where did I come from? Where am I going after death? And a lot of times it comes because at one point or another you hear a music over a tent and you hear somebody says, hey, come over here to my tent and I will give you self-passes to the other world. And what a cruel thing that is. What a cruel thing that is. That you have in your, that we have in our mind that after we pass from here, there's going to be a place where there's going to be a blazing furnace, and no wonder we fear death. But we got to get rid of those things, whether they came from our parents or from our schools, wherever they might be. We have to get rid of them. We have to start, like you said, make a new plan ahead. Start to spend 3 weeks. What is it? 21 days, 7 times 3, 21. I like that. I like that 3 months, but 3 weeks, I'll take you up on that. Take 3 weeks to reorganize the knowledge that you have and put away all those ignorance and superstitions and find your true self. You know, ignorant and superstitions, those are the 6 basic fears, and they can disappear within 1 generation. So Steve, yeah, get rid of all that stuff, bro, so the little girl next to you do not have none of that stuff, bro. Don't let that happen. And let us begin anew. Let us begin reading these kind of books, or whatever it is that helps you something better. And sorry, I get so involved in this, because at the end of the day, it's to get rid of those ignorance and superstitions, and then come to find out that for every cause there's an effect. So why not begin to study the effects and the cause that makes people first of all get rid of these fears, and then you go from poverty or whatever state of life you're in to wealth, to abundance, to greatness, and start feeding your minds with stories like Ford or Edison. At the end of the day, what we're going to go through this is about American history, basically, and you're going to find out all the greatest people out there. Napoleon Hill spent 25 years analyzing all the great people out there. And at the end of the day, this whole loss of success is about finding the cause of success, and make sure that those effects, those failures, they don't have to be part of our life. Because now we have here a place where we can, a pergament, how can I say it? The scrolls, where we can come in and gather their fruit and swaddle the seed of success in every chapter that we go through. So my hope is that you get the real facts that you gather here. And it's not because any one of you is trying to tell you, even Napoleon Hill, he will want you to test that theory. He will want you to find your cause, your effect. And nothing ever just happens. Bro, there's no such thing as luck or chance. You know, I heard that, what I heard today, that luck only appears after you have paid a price, after you have worked so hard that when opportunity presents it right here, it's because you already worked. So that which other people consider lucky, like, oh, look how he moved up the ladder of success. It wasn't luck. It was just they worked their butt off it over and over and over. And that was the cost. That was, what is it? The cause of the effect. And this has been known in psychology. And also, we understand that in psychology, we understand that when 2 minds are bleeding together, they form a third mind. And even though you might not talk over the phone, you can say, you know, Steve, I've been thinking about you. 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 Heck, I've been thinking about you for the last 5 years, and lo and behold, here we are. So be careful as to what your dominating thoughts are, for good or bad, because they bring about the things that you desire from life. And yes, your dominating thoughts is what keeps us alive, what keeps us going. And the goal will be to have enough determination to wipe these fears out of our life and keep our attention on the things that we want, not on the things that we don't want. Go through life with enthusiasm in our heart. 9:43.
Yep.
This is the part of the call where we all just get to talk. So please do share a thought. I'm going to get me a drink. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm gonna do it, Hugo, because I have to quit the call very soon. So the fear to losing love or someone you truly light like your parent, things like that. I experienced that very young. My father died when he was 42, and I was very young, and nobody was prepared of that. And it take us a couple of, well, for my part, it take me nearly 2 years to overpass that. And you know, the one, we love, we share it in a spirit, and that's very good to learn that young, because many people pass away and you don't got the time to say you love them. And it's the same with your wife or your lover. One day it's possible she go away or you go away, and you change something you have to change in your mind to arrive at in something in life. But all that thing come from social heredity. We never think we have to grow up, and we have to grow up fast. The new generation. I am a grandfather, and I look at my grandkid, and I got three of them, and they are very fast in many things, but they all miss something somewhere, so they have to come to take some knowledge somewhere. It's not only on the internet though, and on they call that intelligent phone, but I don't think the machine it is. So with the law of success, with a good mastermind, if you choose your people correctly. Personally, I learned a lot. I'm a French Canadian, so I learned a lot how the American think, and how it's possible to succeed with nearly nothing when you start, you know. And to achieve a goal, it takes time, a good plan. And when the plan is not good, change the plan, but don't change the goal. You're gonna arrive at something, that's for sure. But for that, I need a mastermind to learn all that stuff. And when I was young, I don't got they don't teach us that. They don't teach us to win or to succeed. They teach us to go work in a shop, and that was okay. It was like that, but many people lose their life to be like everybody. And I know in this mastermind, we're not anybody. We are people who got a goal. We want to achieve something. We want to succeed in what we start, and we help each other to arrive at something. We show up, and that's the key to showing up and listen. I remember 3 years ago, I don't talk in English. My English was very poor. It doesn't make me an Englishman, but I understand another way. When you learn another language, you start to understand the mentality behind the language, and that's very important to understand your client, the way he gonna think, because if you don't know their language, it's very tough to understand the way they think correctly. So thank you for that mastermind, Carl, again, Hugo and Anthony, and the newcomer. I don't remember your name, but you're very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Andre. That was really good. Out of all of the fears, I think that for me personally, the one that has hurt the most was the fear of the loss of love. All the others haven't been that big of a deal for me. I mean, the fear of poverty, I've kind of learn to deal with whatever situation. Sometimes I'm not happy with it, but the thing that really affected me the most is the loss of love. So I think that Gary Vee talks about how one of the biggest things that he feels lucky for is that 3 of 4 of his grandparents died before he was very old. And so he never had to experience that loss of love at a young age. And when you have that trauma at a young age, you don't really know how much it impacts your life. And that's why I really like how it's in like the first chapter of this book, where it talks about the 6 major fears. And I think they resonate with pretty much everyone when you go through them. The fear of poverty, regardless of whatever your situation, you have some sort of discomfort with poverty, old age, ill health, the loss of love, fear of criticism, death. All these things, they hit home for everyone. And I think that it is very important to study these and understand how they affect your life and understand how they affect your decisions and understand how you can use it to empower yourself. And so that's why I'm grateful for all of you guys. I appreciate your input. It's been a great call tonight.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you. I think the whole fear of loss of love, I think when you're speaking about a spouse or something like that, I think where it's all natural to be holding somebody high on a pedestal and saying that this person, your world revolves around this person. So I think once you understand that you have self-happiness and only that person will be a benefit to your happiness instead of them revolving or your happiness around them. So when that loss of the love, their love is a benefit and not such your life, I think the brain is a very powerful tool, and I think a heart is a very powerful tool. But when you mix them emotions and the mind together, it could be deadly for you, or it could be very powerful. So, as far as the loss of love goes, I know it's inevitable that people pass, but when we're speaking about the love of a spouse or something like that, it's like you got to learn to be happy with yourself, and only when you're happy with yourself, then you'll be able to shed light or shed happiness onto somebody else. But you can't expect somebody to be your happiness or make you happy or control your emotion, because you should be able to do that yourself. And coming from a divorce too, it's like it was deadly, because you put this person on a pedestal. You're like, oh man, this is my world. This is, this is it. This is my happiness. And after that all shatters and gone, you're broken into pieces, trying to pick up little pieces, trying to find out who you are. And I think the pain, it could come out a lot of creativity as well, though. So, a lot of these success stories, a lot of it comes from pain and suffering, So that's all I got.
Thank you, my friend. It's very true what you said. Come from pain many times and overpass the pain of love. You overpass everything, because when I pass that stage, I start to do research on me. After my first divorce, I start to make a lot of research on me to know really who I was and why I choose a woman like that. And I understand I don't have to hate someone I love and she go out of my life. That was the first thing to heal. And after that, I never fall in love in the same way. Sorry, I have to take the time to search the correct person, and it was great. It was a very great thing, but when it arrived, it's not a funny thing. But like I think in the Law of Success, they talk about that to overpass your struggle and your pain, and make some personal duty to know who you really are in life, and accept it. That's what I like of the Law of Success. You have to accept who you are and who you want to be in 5 years. Huh? Which kind of person you want to know, and all the the self-education is possible to get now, and the best exam is to be a good person for me, and a good person in this mastermind. Make the good move with my mastermind people. So yeah, thank you very much for your comment. I truly appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, all right.
Well, just so we understand here, man, we started this call about it's going to be 4 or 5 years. So you become the things that you think about 5 years hence, and we hope that tonight we implant a little seed so that it doesn't have to take that long. It can be a lot faster once you get the principle in hands. They come in such amount that you wonder where the hell they've been hiding all along. So let's get this thing right. And again, thank you for being on the phone.
Thank you, guys.
We talked about the chief aim last week, and then we're coming back to the mastermind. But it's good to understand where we're coming from and what this earth is made out of, and all that stuff that we learned through the mastermind principle. The mastermind, at the end of the day, there's one simple technique that can help us achieve our goals and stay committed and inspire along the way. And yes, we have long-lasting relationships, and those they can benefit not only for a little time, but for years to come. And that's through the using of the mastermind principle. That's what we're talking to people. The mind can be developed through the harmonious cooperation of 2 or more people. If we align ourselves to accomplish one given task. So the question arises as to what is that task? What's our chief aim? See, with a mastermind group in your life, you are more apt to be committed, to stay consistent. And heck yeah, we have fun. We look forward to these goals. And with no doubt, I can tell you without a reasonable doubt that if you sit there tonight and you write on a piece of paper a statement as to what you want from life, and then on the back of payment as to a statement as to what you intend to give in return for those riches, there's no such thing for nothing. But then you stay here committed, and you make that a passion, and then we come here and we bleed our minds in a spirit of harmony, and so we can appropriate the other mind. And what happens is that it's a third mind. Even the Christ said it. Wherever 2 or more people come together and they say my name, there I will be. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, Napoleon, for being here tonight. I also want to tell you that be careful when you start this mastermind, because any sign of one little lie, one little something, I don't even want to go there, but what happens is the whole thing disintegrates. And instead of being a friendly alliance, it brokens up. See, there is a chemical reaction and the effect of when we meet other people. And here we have 4 or 5 people talking. So it's not in what one said, but it's in what everybody else says as an individual that creates the mastermind. And that puts an imprint in for your journey ahead. So experiment with it. Just keep going on it. Keep going on it until you find the right people. If this is not the right people, find a group of people that will support you, that will inspire you, that motivates you towards your goal. It's also a method of networking. Here we can build alliance that we can put 2, 3 things together, and then it's for the benefit of all. We're mentoring each other. It's a buddy system. So if someone picked your interest on the call, reach out to him and gain from their experience. This is a great motivation. Motivation is like going to church. You need it over and over. It's also a way to find solutions to your chance ahead. So the question, sorry I'm rambling on because it's 9:59 now, as to Who should you include in your mastermind line? And I talked about that today. You know, a lot of times your friend and family are not the best ones because they might not be the best, I don't know, best salesperson or like this. And then just find someone that you're in good rapport with, and that has a pleasing personality and a positive mentality. We're not here to compete. We're here to create. We want people that are hungry for success, people that are consistent, people that know what they want from life and that wants to be part of this group. So the question arises as to how important is the mastermind in your life? Last but not least, you know, it's 9:59. We have 4 people here. The last chapter was a chief aim. And, you know, they say, don't tell everybody what you're doing because it might put stuff in your us. But it's good to share with others your chief aim. Steve, you want to tell us what your chief aim in life is, brother?
There you go. I have to go. So it was a delightful pleasure to be there tonight, gentlemen. Thank you very much. And I'm gonna be there Tuesday for sure. Ciao, ciao. Sorry to quit like that, but I'm very late. Ciao.
You're right on the money.
Thank you, Andre. Have a good night.
Take care.
Yep.
Sorry, what was the question now?
Let me start. My name is Hugo de la Spring. My goal in life 3.5 years was to be the best painter in my community, a good handyman. And after that, that was because the flipping of giving me the opportunity to sit at night and do that I really have a passion for, which is public. So I thank you very much for the opportunity. My goal is to spend the next 20 years of my life sharing this with other people. And then I'm 50, so I still got another 50. So from 70 to 90, I can spend the rest of my time giving it away to people that have the same passion that I had when I started this. Thank you for letting me share my life.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hugo.
It's a round table, and then we'll say a prayer and we'll leave. Round table means that everybody gets to talk. And the last one is the public speaker, because we always wait for the last one to be like, whoa, that guy's going to tell us something great. So whether you want to go now or last, it's up to you.
Well, I don't have a whole lot to add, but what's that?
The cat got your tongue, or the tongue got your cat. What is that saying? Share your tongue.
I just want to kind of end with the simple fact that this is a quote from Robert Louis Stevenson. It says, "An aim in life is the only fortune worth finding, and it is not to be found in foreign lands, but in the heart itself." So I think it's a personal journey for each of us, and we can go on it together through this group. And that's the magic in the mastermind. Thank you, guys.
I think creating a space where like-minded people can speak is a great thing, because I think we can push each other to be better. I think as far as like quitting our journey is, quitting is a learned thing. I think it was Tony Robbins who said that how long would you give a child to walk until you stop them from trying to walk? It's like the kid's going to be, they fall down, they get up, they fall down, they get up. So quitting is a learned thing. We stop because we're fear for failing.
Yeah.
So.
I like how my head back.
Very cool. All right. And on 4, we like to thank the Napoleon Hill Foundation. We'd like to thank Napoleon Hill. We'd like to thank everybody that participated in the call. All divine providence, we ask not for more riches. We just ask for the gift you gave us of birth in the form of being able to direct our mind to whatever it is that we desire from life. Have a blessed week with love in your heart.
Good night.
Up the iron. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
You got control, Father.
I can say anything to your mom.
That's a beautiful thing. Let her talk, bro. Let her talk as we end the call.
We're gonna be habits. It's going to be every day, but it's a good one. I'm watching everything else right now.
All right, we're out, man. We're good?
Hey, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, we're good. Thanks, guys. Bye.